oxygen concentrator. So this is, what do you think, Tammy? Critical piece of equipment?
Oh, very.
Yes. So when will you need one of these? You don't know. But when you need it now. And this is not the kind of thing that you can just go pick up. This is the kind of thing you got to plan ahead of time. So this one here, I bought this on Craigslist. I think I paid like 200 bucks for it. It's a used one, obviously. Older style, used for humans. You will see some of those on your local Craigslist where somebody had them for their spouse. Unfortunately, their spouse is no longer around. It's been sitting in the garage and it's time to sell it. So what it does is you don't have to have an oxygen bottle. And you won't have much luck with oxygen bottles because you have to have a prescription for them. If you had, in the past, before I had this, I did have a situation where I had a puppy that needed oxygen and I actually used the oxygen off my welding card. That could work, but this is really not the right way to do it. So the great thing about this is this plugs into 110 and it generates oxygen out of the air. It takes oxygen out of the air, concentrates it and feeds it out of this tube. So you're going to buy one. How do you know that it's working? Well, this is the system that I devised when I bought my first one. Because look, when you turn this thing on, it just makes a noise and you don't know that there's pure oxygen coming out of this at all. So, you can smell it, you can taste it. I mean, what the heck? So this is what you do. You light,
throw it on the floor at your wife. Everybody saw that. He threw that at me, okay?
That's right. Okay, so here we go. Light a, here's the interesting thing. Look, just to do this with this doesn't tell you a thing. Look, it's oxygen coming out. Is it working? Well, who knows? But here's the trick. You get yourself a toothpick, blow it out, put it in the oxygen flow, and there it is. And I've got my thing on fire. God. But the point here is, if I blow on this, I'll never get it going. But if I put it in the oxygen flow, it gets it on fire. That's how you know that it's working. So the problem is...
Be careful with that, please.
Yeah, don't burn your house down. I'll now cut the end of this off. The important thing here is, I don't want to cut on our nice grand surfaces. If you go buy one of these cheap ones on Amazon for like 350 bucks, I about guarantee you that they will not concentrate oxygen worth a diddly. And when you get them, you do this test right here, it won't light it up. Send it back. It's no value to you at all. It's got to light this up. The cheapo ones, I don't want to knock Chinese brands, but the cheap Chinese ones for 300 or 350 bucks, they concentrate oxygen to maybe 35%. This thing concentrated to 95%. That's what you want. All right, so how do you use it? Well, what I do is I take a plastic cup, one that I can see through, and I make a little hole in the top of it with a knife.
Like the hefty plastic cups.
Yep. Make a hole in it, it's not big enough yet. That'd be perfect hole. I'm not sure I've made a big enough hole here, but let's see. Yeah, here it is. There we go. So look, if you use this on a human, can you get a picture of that all right?
Yeah, you can see the tube.
So with a human, you use a thing called a cannula. It comes over the ears, comes in this little nose piece, it comes up in here. You're not going to get that for a puppy. But this is great. All you do is put the puppy's head inside this, and it gets in an envelope of oxygen all the way around it. And the next question people ask me is, how many litres per minute do I need? The answer is the lowest setting. Absolutely, the lowest setting is fine. Because, and there's the lowest setting.
Oh.
There's the lowest setting. Because, this is set up for, human for 2 or 3 litres per minute. Well, we've got, a human weighs 100 pounds, 200 pounds, versus a puppy that weighs half a pound. So you just don't need any amount of oxygen at all. All right. What do you do if you've got lots of puppies? Well, obviously you can't get lots of puppies' heads in this. Incubator. This goes into the incubator. The puppies go in the incubator, close the lid. They're all in nice oxygen. So there it is. If you buy a used one or any one, make sure to light a toothpick. One more thing. This thing does run on 110 volts. You're not going to run this in your car. This is going to take too much current to run off an inverter of a car. If you're going to be in a car, and that's your purpose here, is you're probably going to have to buy one of these more portable battery-powered ones. And a new one of those, they're like $1,500, $2,000 bucks. They're not cheap.
Well, one day when we had to run that puppy to the vet, you filled a hefty bag full of the oxygen in it.
Yes, there's a video on that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What we did is we basically bagged the puppy. So what we did is we took a huge leaf bag, and we alternately gave oxygen to the puppy because it was in trouble, and put it into the bag, and the puppy in the bag. And we blew the bag up so the bag was the size of, you know, a leaf bag. And then we put the tube in the bag, put our finger around it, and then we could then gently squeeze on that bag, get pure oxygen to come out for the 15 minutes it took to get to the vet. And that puppy had a booger up his nose. That's what the problem was. Had a booger up his nose, but it was actually getting in trouble.
It was clogged up milk from nursing, and we had no clue. We felt like a bunch of idiots when we went to the vet, and he pulled it out of the puppy's nose, and it was fine.
But at least we had an oxygen machine. Without that, the puppy would not have made it.
He had turned colors and everything. We didn't know what in the world was wrong with him because he was a perfectly healthy puppy.
Yep.
He's what, about 7 days old, maybe?
Yes. And he was fine after that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Saved the puppy.
Yeah.
But we've used this oxygen machine quite a bit. The scenario is...
Well, the other thing about with the puppy, we could tell the oxygen was helping because his color would turn back. Yes. And then when we'd let him off of the oxygen, his color would go back to the horrible color.
Bluey color, right, exactly.
So,
yes.
We knew something.
So you got a puppy that's in trouble. I mean, a typical scenario is you get this what's called fading puppy syndrome, which means that the puppy's going downhill, we don't know why. It might be because you had puppies early, it might be something else, but it always starts off with a puppy doing It'll do short, sharp breaths with a squeak. We call that the death cry. And it's not good to hear.
No.
The thing to do in those situations is get those puppies into an incubator, get them warm, and get oxygen on them, and you will be surprised that fixes the problem in lots of cases, and you can then nurse that puppy back to health. But without that, typically those puppies, 2 to 4 hours later, they're no longer with us. So there we go, oxygen concentrator. This brand here, I'm not sold on that. It's just, you know, the thing about something like this is it's built like a Sherman tank. This thing weighs 30 pounds. I mean, it's on wheels for a reason.
It's on wheels, yeah.
It's on wheels for a reason. But I mean, this thing's probably 15 years old. Built like a Sherman tank. You can run this thing all day long and it's not going to quit on you. And it's inexpensive because it's used. But certainly, if you look at the more modern ones, you can buy ones that are nice and small and neat. But if it costs $350 and it's new, I'll bet my bottom dollar it ain't going to be worth a diddly squat.
Yeah.
So if you're going to buy a new one that's going to be worth anything, be prepared to spend $1,000 for a portable one. Or, it's better yet, just go buy yourself a used one on Craigslist. But this is the kind of thing to keep on Craigslist and get it ahead of time. Have this in your arsenal of stuff. Be prepared. This is part of being a Boy Scout here. This is about being prepared.
Boy Scout?
Yeah, they're always prepared.
Girl Scouts,
Are they prepared?
too.
What's the motto for the Girl Scouts?
I don't know, but
Lots of people will chime in.
Come on, let's put the women in there before you get criticized.
I love women.
Yeah.
Watching the video. I really appreciate people who subscribe to me. It helps me, encourage me to do more of these videos. But do remember, disclaimer here, I am not a vet. I'm not a licensed medical professional. I'm purely a person who's been breeding dogs for the last couple of decades. Any information that you got from this video, use at your own risk. There's nothing implied here, and certainly this should not be used as a substitute for advice from your veterinarian or your medical professional. I hope you enjoyed the video. Come back for more of them. Bye.